In this series, called 30-Minute Masterpieces, we explore artworks that can be completed within a 40-minute class period. Welcome to Painting with Janine Liza. Materials. We're going to need some Bristol board with a little bit of paper towel in the center underneath. This is just black Bristol board. A push pin, a paper plate, some wax paper, cups of water, and acrylic neon paints in blue, pink, green, yellow and orange, plus white and black. Paper towels and brushes, large and small. I'm just going to put the push pin right in the center of the paper plate. And I'll put this aside. I'm going to put some white paint shorter than the width of the paper plate in the center of the black paper. Now I'm going to add some neon colors into this space, just a little bit of each. And now just a little more white to the outside of those colors. I'm going to place the paper plate gently, centering the push pin into the center of the paint, and gently pushing it down through the paper into the paper towel below. Pressing the plate a little and then turning to spread all the paint under the plate. After pressing the plate down a little and turning it, I'm going to look under the edges to see if I can see the paint seeping out from around the edges of the base of the plate. If I do see the paint, it's time to lift the plate. I just have to decide which sides of the plate I want to lift because it will affect the look of the texture. Here we go. Wow, that's so pretty. And now there is some paint left on the plate, and we're going to use that also. We're going to stamp what is left on the plate on the four corners of the black paper. And this is a bit mucky, so you do want to make sure that you have wax paper on the table underneath, because it's going to overlap as you place the circle down. You're going to be making like quarter circles or a little more than a quarter on each corner. Each time you stamp, just stamp gently and only press a little on the corner where the black paper is. This will preserve some of the paint on the base of the paper plate. And each one that you stamp will turn out different, with a different texture. Each one equally as beautiful. As you stamp the plate, the paint will get weaker and thinner. And even though it gives you a cool texture, you might want to get a bit more paint. And one way to do that is to place it gently back on the center one, just very gently. And then just lift a little bit of paint from there to complete the fourth. There we go. Well, technically the fifth, but the fourth corner. There you go. To turn these beautiful shapes into bubbles, we're going to use a little bit of white paint, and we're going to do some edges on them with a little white, which will define the circular edge, and also paint some little shapes on them for shine and reflection. While applying this paint, you may want to rotate your canvas to reach each corner and to apply the paint carefully without reaching across wet paint. However, the alternative option is to let it dry overnight and the next day add these details. While painting around the edges with the white paint, you may find that you have a puddle or a bump that sticks out on one of the shapes. If there's a puddle, you can take a little bit of paper towel and gently lift some of that paint out of that area, just like this. After lifting off some of the excess paint, you can get some black paint and reshape the negative space around the bubble. This will also help you shape the bubble into more of a circle. You can switch back and forth between the black and the white paint until you're satisfied with the edges of the bubble. Now I'm going to add lines and shapes to the top of the bubbles for shine and reflection. These will have a corresponding curve with the edges of the bubbles. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to my wax paper and mix a little bit in with the white. And I'm going to use some of this for the shine and reflections also. I'm continuing to define the edges of the bubbles, going back and forth between the black and the white paint. I left the middle one for last because the thickness of paint would take longer to dry. Some of the white lines on the edge of the circle might seem a little bit too defined, so to blend them in a little bit more, I'm just getting a little bit of water on the brush and just brushing between the line and the color so that I can sort of smudge them together a little. I'm continuing to shape the edges using the black and the white. I'm also redefining some of the shines that I put on the bubbles using a little bit of white paint. And now one last look at the edges of the bubbles using black and white to make small adjustments. This class is almost complete. Thank you for viewing it and/or trying it out. If you'd like to find more classes like this one, please go to Art with Janine Liza on YouTube.